Good morning. Now that we have our bouquets arranged and set up and ready to go, I wanted to talk to you about the next step. So, one thing we talked about last night on Zoom, or the last time we spoke on Zoom, was using your viewfinder to create a composition that you like. And I'm using that now to try to frame what I see. And what I've done is I've taken a picture of what I like. My frame ends up being 8 by 10, so it's an 8 by 10 piece. I moved this rectangle down to half size, so you can see it's 4 ticks by 5 ticks. So that's like a 4 by 5 or 8 by 10 proportion. I did that so it was easier for me to hold it up and look through my eye and see what I'm looking at with the right proportion. So then what I've done is I've taken and I've drawn a 8 by 10 rectangle on my sketch pad. This is the Strathmore 140-pound watercolor paper. I'm just doing my sketch on this and using this for practice. And what I know we've been working in class where we draw directly onto our watercolor sketchbook and then paint from there, but I'm going to show you the sort of maybe the more step up from doing that. So you can choose to do it this way, or you can choose to just paint on the notebook that we have here. The reason I do this is sometimes when I really am trying to do a really nice painting, I have a lot of corrections to make, and digging in and redrawing and erasing makes the paper a real mess, and it shows through when you do paint on top of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sketch. I'm going to then get it to where I really like it, and then I'm going to put tracing paper on top, draw that, and then transfer it to a nice clean piece of watercolor paper. I think I might choose to use the hot press, which is a smooth surface. You can use whatever you like. You can take this and turn the page and just use another, clean sheet of this watercolor paper. If you don't want to waste the watercolor paper, you can use just a regular piece of sketching paper, but I like doing it here in case I want to go back and try some watercolors, testing some colors on here. It's sort of like the mock-up. Excuse me. So I'm going to stand up. You can see that I have that grid drawn out just like we saw on our phones. And I'm going to use that to help me figure out how to start the composition. And you can see that I've marked here and here where the vessel begins and ends. I've marked a general shape for where the flowers fall in this bouquet. I've made a general shape of the drapery behind this still life and the surface that it's on. Those are all really great reference points to get right before then you start adding a bunch of detail. I don't want to draw really beautiful drawings of those pansies until I have the bones of the piece right. So that's why it's also good to sketch out first before you transfer the finished picture to your really nice piece of watercolor paper. So you can see that I've done that. I did the 3 by 3 grid and marked out where the general shape is, and then I went back in and I really looked at each general shape of the flower and kind of did an outline. If there was a leaf, I drew like where this leaf was coming out, where this leaf is coming out, where these little leaves are coming out, and their relationship to each of the other. And you can see too that I put in the centers of the flowers. I've even moved them. So I want to, if I get those right, then I know I can draw from that center point out, and and if I get the proportion and the relation and the angles right of all the stems and the sort of leaves coming out, that's a really great way of checking how correct the drawing is. Okay, so I'm going to continue with that, and then I'll come back and show you what I've done.